cantu takwiza beto pakisayove inkindila yesu paka KwaZulu kansi yandi twadisa beto kulanda yandi beto pakisayombote baimbai baimbai suka takwiza banayanta mbita kwenda KwaZulu beto gibila gilumbu beto nambu beto pakisayombote.
Time God just began to reveal a lot of just brokenness for the fatherless and brokenness for the poor. But above that, He gave us a broken heart for the saints who are already here, who are already laboring. And in our own arrogance, we started out thinking we needed to come here and do something. And what God began to do in us was to create a desire to come here and support those who are already doing something.
On behalf of Tabitha Ministries, I would just like to introduce myself. I'm Gail Trollope, and I'm the director and founder of Tabitha Ministries. And it was as a direct calling from Jesus that the ministry was started. We have been in ministry here in Pietermaritzburg, KwaZulu-Natal in South Africa, specifically for the last 12 years, where we started doing training of HIV and AIDS, specifically to try and address the huge big problem that we're finding with the HIV pandemic. When we started Tabitha Ministries, there was very, very little training on the ground. There was very little that the community people were able to fall back on as a resource to be able to heal the people or to minister to the people who were sick. And the calling that we have in Tabitha Ministries is to minister to those who have not, those who are critically ill, those who are poverty-struck, to the children who are destitute, who have lost all caregivers, usually the mothers, fathers, grannies, any person, adult that might be caring for a child is no longer around, and the children are absolutely left destitute. Tabitha Ministries, I think, is a very unique ministry. It is a ministry and a calling straight from Jesus, and I think it's exactly the ministry that Jesus did when He was here on earth. Jesus went to those who were destitute, who had nothing, and He literally walked, talked, prayed, healed, and ministered to those who were in such desperate need. And I think that is the kernel of Tabitha Ministries. That is what we are trying to do. We are trying to be the hands and feet of Jesus. We're trying to be an influence in the whole area of the pandemic. Overseas, one is not aware of the enormity of what is taking place in this country. We are finding that family structures, community structures, children's lives, patients' lives are being absolutely destroyed through this pandemic that is sweeping through our country. And I believe Jesus is wanting to do something so unique and so very special at this time, to be a hand in such a time of incredible need, and to reach out to those who are in such terrible need, to provide food like we do, 2.5 tons of food that are taken out every month, to give a place of safety for children who have nowhere to go, who are terribly abused. In our 2 homes, we have nearly over 60 children that are so destitute that they cannot stay in their homes. Otherwise, we have child-headed homes that are headed up by children who care for their siblings. We try to get these children back to school, to establish them, to have some kind of a safe haven for them during the day, to have 1 meal a day, and to keep them together as a family unit. So Tabitha Ministries is doing the best they can at this particular time to be the hands and feet of Jesus and to minister to them, to bring the light of the gospel, and to really show them that there are people who care, there are people who are prepared to love them, and we really ask you as Pine Lake in America, as you've shown already, to stand with us and support us in prayer and in manpower, and just coming and being with us and seeing what the Lord is calling us to do here in Africa. And we just bless you for the time that you've given us. We bless you for each and every one that's come here, and we just hope to see more of you. Thank you.
Bika monove vulu
Our heart is to partner with ministries who provide relief work, which is just the basic feeding of kids, rehabilitative work, which gets into education and longer term development within the kids. And then hopefully we would love to see God restore economic and agricultural development in these communities so these children actually have a hope for tomorrow and the future.
Sweetwaters is a community of around approximately 100,000 people. 40 to 50% of the people in the community are either HIV positive or have AIDS. There are, because of the staggering number of deaths in the community, there are over 6,000 children that live in what is called a child-headed household. That's a household where both of the parents have died and have left the children as literal orphans, so the care of the house falls to the oldest member of the home. Many times that's a 12 or a 13-year-old child would be responsible for, as many as, 5 or 6 siblings, even babies. It's literally babies raising babies. These are not orphans that have the privilege of living in an institution or a facility. They are literally abandoned, just living completely on their own. It's unfathomable and unthinkable. Before we came here, I never even knew that word existed, but because of the death rate in this community, the entire family structure is being wiped out. An entire generation of people are dying, and it's leaving a generation of children to literally raise themselves in a community that is just in abject poverty.
Ministry in South Africa in this community is not what you would think. I came here with the understanding that I was going to be heartbroken for the people and I was going to feel pity for them. When I got here, God really hit me in the face with my own spiritual arrogance as I saw a group of people who had faith that was beyond anything I had ever seen, anything I had ever imagined. I live in a world that my faith had never cost me anything. These people live in a world where their faith costs them their very life every day. They get up, they walk these streets, they are the hands and feet of Jesus to these children and to the sick and to the dying. The Western world looks at things going on in South Africa and say it's without hope. But I come here and I kneel on this ground and I walk the streets with these people and I realize that wherever Jesus is, there's hope. He's actively at work. He's restoring this place. The day that He called us to come here, as I knelt down in the ground and held it in my hands, the thing I heard from Him was not pity, but it was Him saying, I'm getting ready to do something great here, and I'm asking you to be a part of it. And I have the privilege of being able to take the message that He gave me that day and offer it to you today. God is at work here. He's doing something great, and we'd like to invite you to consider getting involved with us.
It's the day when the faith shall be sight. The clouds be rolled back. There's a scroll. The drums shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well. It is well with my soul. With my soul, it is well.
We all need hope in our lives. We all hope for a better life. But what if you were born into a community where your children, even if they finished school, they ended up in the bottom 10% in Africa for literacy? What if you had a 1 in 3 chance of contracting HIV/AIDS? What if you were a girl, you ended up having a 1 in 3 chance of being raped? one of our field workers was telling me the other day about a boy that he's interacting with and helping. This boy of 13 has been raping his 3-year-old sister consistently. I mean, that's horrendous. That's horrific. And we are doing something about that. But what's also horrendous is that no one is teaching these boys and these girls how to live life right, how to do things the right way. There's no one at home doing that. There's no one at school doing that. And this is just causing problems all over the community. And this boy should be growing up being taught how to live life right. And he should be taught how to do things the right way and add value to society when he grows up one day. And this isn't happening. We know why this is a problem, because the previous regime, the apartheid regime, stripped away the role models. The men had to leave and go and work elsewhere, and dumbed down the education system, and has resulted in a system, in a community that has no role models, has no real family structure, and has a poor education system. How can a community like that have hope? So a bunch of us from a local church got together and started to realize and understand the needs, and we just knew we needed to do something. We didn't know how, we didn't know what, we didn't know where, but we knew we had to do something. And we started by just building relationships with the community, starting to understand them and learn from them. And we got to meet the community leaders, and they got excited about our passions and what we believed we needed to do, and they taught us more, and we learned and we grew. And Ithemba Projects was born out of that.
I make appointment with Nkosi to introduce them to Nkosi, and Nkosi was very, very happy. And Nkosi was have some other things want Ithemba to do for this poor community. The first thing is to teach these poor pupils how to help other pupils.
We understood that there are a multitude of problems that exist in Sweetwaters, and we could only focus on a few. And so we have focused on 2 key issues that we believe are the causes of the problem. And the one is education, and creating an education system that will provide a place where children and teens will be able to finish and continue their education afterwards, or potentially get a job. And secondly is on mentoring the children and teens as to how to live life the way they were intended to live it, the right way. And the programs that we run, the one is the Life Skills program in the schools, where we're reaching hundreds of children and teaching them about how to live life properly. The children absolutely love it, and they desperately want to know. And we have Zulu men who go in and teach these children, because they understand the culture and they understand the needs. And the children we are seeing change in the children, and the teachers are speaking about the change as well. We also have mentorship groups that meet on a weekly basis, and children are coming voluntarily to hear about how to live life better, to be mentored, to walk this road with these male role models that we have working for us.
I'm a discipleship field worker, and what we're doing in this community, we have a Jabulani Kids Club, which is a club that we bring all the kids from the community. They come together and we have fun, and we also teach them the Word of God. And then there in the club we also help the kids, encourage the kids to go to the Bible studies in this same community. And then the Bible study, it's a 1.5 hour program that we run, and some of the families have given us the